So a couple things you guys and gals may have noticed recently is my upload schedule has been a bit sporadic. Most of all, I think the super fans will understand. Essentially, I have been dealing with some major, scary computer issues. It's all resolved now, but I did want to kind of include this as a video update for you guys to let you know this is what's been happening. In short, I was starting to have some major issues with my computer, and all the signs were pointing to the power supply. I won't bother explaining more because I wanted to kind of show you guys the process of replacing my power supply just because, I don't know, maybe it's interesting to somebody. But keep in mind that I did record this on my phone, so yeah. I've been steadily getting blue screens, computer restarts, over the past couple months. It's been very, very slow, maybe once every 2 weeks or something. But now it's getting to the point where I'm getting it once every week, which means that my power supply is probably what's dying on my PC. And if my power supply dies, it can potentially kill a lot of aspects of my computer. So it's a lot more cost effective to buy a new power supply. Thankfully, I already bought one today, but I was in the middle of editing and then my computer blue screened. So I think no more procrastinating. I gotta install this new power supply right now. A pro tip I would highly recommend is use your phone and take pictures of where everything's plugged in the back of your computer. That way you don't have to worry and can just unplug everything. Because this doesn't happen very often. It's been a few years, 10 years since I had to reinstall an power supply. So yeah, let's hope I can do it. So I'm almost ready. Basically there's this face plate that I gotta get rid of these Irish screws, and then I take that off. And then here's the new power supply that's gonna go in there, but there's quite a few extra steps to this because there's all of those wires end up going to different parts of the computer. This is normally covered by the case. And so I gotta figure out where everything connects. I'm also gonna take the opportunity to do a good clean on the inside as well. So this is gonna be tough. I forgot I had to deal with this last time as well. So this cord that goes up, back there, that's the CPU. And it's really tricky because we got this big blocky coolant in the way, as well as I have a fan that I kind of moved out of the way. But I don't want to have to uninstall, manually unscrew and take all of this out just to squeeze it in there, but I don't have much finger room. The plot thickens, so I won't be able to get my fingers in there from this angle. And the screwdriver that I got actually isn't even long enough to go through here and unscrew all that. But then I remembered, my case has a top that opens up. So I unscrewed everything, and that's the furthest I can move it. And the only way that I could get this completely uninstalled is I would have to get this top casing off, which would require me to do a lot of extra work. So I think if I just hold this up, that's the wire I gotta get to, I think we'll be good. Let this be a lesson that the Corsair power supplies are god tier. I had this one for 8 to 10 years. I know that's quite a margin, but I basically got this as soon as I started getting enough money from YouTube to upgrade my PC parts. But now we're gonna be moving on to this bad boy. Whew. I always end up sweating like crazy when I'm down on the floor doing all this computer crap. I think it's all good. Thankfully, computers are super modular and super streamlined now. So the cords literally say where they go. There's a CPU cord, there's a PCIe cord, which is for the graphics card. I did have to do a little bit of research because I didn't know what the 12-watt slot was for on the power supply, but I guess that's got to do with the new NVIDIA cards take that, which means that my old power supply didn't even support that, technically speaking. I will say my computer is way heavier now. This power supply down here is quite, it's a beast. This is where it comes in handy that I took pictures of where all these cords go, because now I don't have to waste my brain capacity on it. Well, last but not least, we gotta flip the power on, and then we gotta risk pressing the button. This is a big mistake that most people shouldn't do, which is putting everything together before I know it works. So far, so good. It is taking a little longer to start up, but I think we're in business. Well, now I'm gonna put the computer through the tests, do some editing, do some high-end gaming and stuff like that, and throw this out. Because unfortunately I can't sell it since it's dying. I really hope that's the end of my blue screens and random shutoffs and stuff. Lastly, I don't know if I mentioned this throughout this little story. Don't just reuse your old cords, swap to new ones. So every power supply should come with cords. Okay, yeah, so we ran into a huge problem. Namely, one of my hard drives is not coming on. Thankfully, it's not the one that I have my Windows drive on or anything like that, like the computer started, but it is my big fat drive where I have all my games installed. The funny thing is, my other drives seem to have come on, but maybe I didn't plug them all in correctly, or I don't know. I gotta open my PC up and find out what I did wrong. Oh, thank God. So I'm just an idiot. You can see there's one hard drive that's not plugged in. So all I gotta do is rearrange a couple cords. I don't need to take everything apart. Whew. Now, since installing my new power supply, I've noticed that my computer is significantly quieter, which means one of two things. Either my graphics card wasn't getting the proper power allocated to it with my old power supply, or more realistically, my old power supply was dying very slowly over many years. I kind of came to this point where I needed to accept the fact that my computer fans would go off hard when I was playing high-intensive graphics games. But now, that's not the case, and that's awesome. I've also had some serious issues with regards to live streaming lately, which is why my streams kind of slowed down for a bit. There was this persistent problem I've had for months where I would be streaming, everything's fine, and then randomly OBS would dip and stop streaming. The solution? Restart OBS and start streaming again. Because computers are magical and stupid, and things go wrong for no reason at all. But my first stream since my new power supply, OBS just wouldn't upload at all. It was very frustrating, and it took a few hours to find a solution. The first solution was open OBS and start streaming immediately before whatever OBS is doing could go wrong. And that seemed to work. If I would wait even a little bit before streaming after opening the program, then OBS would be like, oh, your internet sucks, I can't do that. Through all of this, I opened up my task manager and started monitoring a bunch of my different processes, and I noticed something peculiar in regards to my Ethernet. The title of my internet within my computer was fluctuating between my normal gigabit internet and Radmin. Radmin is a free VPN service that essentially is used to trick games into thinking that you and your friend are both at the same location. It's a way that you can play games LAN locally, even though you're playing them online. And the program, I don't think anyone's gonna be surprised, is very, very scummy and very intrusive towards your computer. I didn't know how intrusive because I didn't have the program open for many months, and yet it was still messing around with my internet. So I uninstalled it. But then I took the extra step to look online and start researching how I could reset all of my internal Ethernet stuff like on my computer within Windows. And funny enough, when I ended up going into my Windows command and resetting all of that, it popped up with Hamachi saying, oh, we can't actually reset this network because it's not active right now. That's funny, because I don't actually have Hamachi installed, and it's been a few years since I had it on my computer. Now, coincidentally, a friend of mine ended up giving me this program recently called Revo Uninstaller, which is pretty much the best uninstaller I've ever seen because it will search through the entirety of your Windows registry to find problems and conflicts with residue from old programs that normally you just use an uninstaller, but it still leaves some issues. So using that, I was able to get rid of the residue of Hamachi. Since then, I haven't had issues with my internet and OBS, but I wonder if that's what the initial problem was for me months ago, where OBS would randomly just dip in performance. It would make sense, but again, with computers, You never know. Long story short, this video is just me complaining and sharing my insights with you guys about some issues that I've been having recently and kind of just justifying why my uploads were a bit weird for a while. In particular, I know that my Trove videos kind of slowed down and a lot of them were just the how to craft this class guide, because while dealing with all of this, I was just in no mood or situation to be able to record like the more in-depth guides, like the Dino Tamer one that I'm hoping to have come out tomorrow finally.